The FMA IA-58 Pucará is an Argentine ground attack and counter-insurgency aircraft manufactured by the Fábrica Militar de Aviones. It is a low-wing twin-turboprop all-metal monoplane with retractable landing gear, capable of operating from unprepared strips when operationally required. The type saw action during the Falklands War and the Sri Lankan Civil War. Development. In August 1966, Dirección Nacional de Fabricación y Investigación Aeronáutica, the Argentine state aircraft factory, began development of the AX-2, a counter-insurgency aircraft to meet a requirement of the Argentine Air Force. The project was promoted by engineer Ricardo Olmedo and became under the guidance of engineer Aníbal Dradami, who also designed the IA-52 Guarani-2 and the IA-63 Pampa. The chosen layout was a low-wing monoplane powered by two turboprop engines mounted in wing-mounted nutshells and fitted with a T-tail. In order to test the proposed layout, DINFIA first built a full-scale unpowered glider test vehicle, this flying for the first time on the 26th of December 1967. Testing of the glider showed no major handling problems, and in September 1968, construction began on a powered prototype. Given the designation FMA IA-58 Delphin, but later renamed Pucará, to be powered by a pair of 674 kW Garrett TPE 331i U303 engines. Earlier that year, the first prototype made its maiden flight on the 20th of August 1969, with a second prototype with power switching to 729 kW turbo-mecha Astazo XVIGs, following on the 6th of September 1970. The first prototype was later re-engined with the Astazo, this engine being chosen for the production version, and a third production prototype followed in 1973. The first production model flew on the 8th of November 1974, with deliveries beginning in early 1976. At least 3 projects were related to the IA-58 development. The first was an extended Pucará airframe with pressurized cabin for 6 passengers, equipped with astaff and turbofan engines for light transport and photography duties. The second was an observation and reconnaissance aircraft having the same configuration as the Fairchild Republic K-10. The third was denominated IA-60 and was an advanced trainer and light attack platform powered by 2 astaffans, conserving the basic airframe and canopy of the Pucará with T-tail incorporating high wings. Some tests were made on wind tunnels, but no further development was made in order to proceed with the IA-63 Pampa program. Design. The IA-58 Pucará is of conventional all-metal construction. The unswept cantilever wings have 7 degrees of dihedral on the outer panels and are fitted with slotted trailing edge flaps. The IA-58 has a tandem cockpit arrangement. The crew of 2 is seated under the upward opening clamshell canopy on Martin Baker Mk6AP6A00. Ejection seats and are provided with dual controls. Armor plating is fitted to protect the crew and engines from ground fire. The aircraft is powered by a pair of turbo-mecha Astazo engines. Driving sets of 3-bladed Ratia Forest 23LF propellers. The propellers are also capable of being used as air brakes. The Pucará was designed for operations from short, rough airstrips. The retractable tricycle landing gear, with a single nosewheel and twin twin main wheels retracting into the engine nutshells, is fitted with low-pressure tires to suit operations on rough ground, while the undercarriage legs are tall to give good clearance for underslung weapons loads. 3 J-8 IA rockets can be fitted under the fuselage to allow extra short takeoffs. Fuel is fed from 2 fuselage tanks of combined capacity of 800 L and 2 self-sealing tanks of 460 L in the wings. The undercarriage, flaps and brakes are operated hydraulically, with no pneumatic systems. Fixed armament of the Pucará consists of 2 Hispano 804 20mm cannons mounted under the cockpit with 270 rounds each and 4 7.62mm Browning machine guns mounted on the sides of the fuselage with 900 rounds each. 3 hardpoints are fitted for carrying external stores such as bombs, rockets or external fuel tanks, with one of 1,000 kg capacity mounted under the fuselage and the remaining 2 of 500 kg capacity beneath the wings. Total external weapons load is limited to 1,620 kg. On-board armaments are aimed by a simple reflector sight. Operational history. The first units were delivered in May 1975 to the Argentine Air Force, equipping the 2 degrees Esquadron de Exploración y Ataque, part of the 3rd Air Brigade in northern Reconquista, Santa Fe Province. They had their operational debut late in 1975, when a number of Pucarás carried out counter-insurgency strikes from Córdoba against Communist ERP guerrillas in Tucumán Province as part of Operativo Independencia. 1982 Falklands War. By the time of the Falklands War, about 60 Pucarás had been delivered as one of the few aircraft of the Argentine service capable of flying operationally from the small airfields in the Falklands, as the runway at Port Stanley Airport was not long enough for FAA Skyhawks and Mirages to be deployed. It was decided to deploy a number of Pucarás to the Falklands, with 4 arriving at Port Stanley on the 2nd of April 1982, with a further 8 arriving on the 9th of April. Many of the Pucarás remaining on the mainland were moved to Puerto Santa Cruz at Comodoro Rivadavia in southern Argentina, where they were closer to the Falklands if needed for reinforcements, and were used to perform coastal surveillance. Most aircraft used in combat were armed with unguided bombs, 2.75-inch rocket pods, or 7.62mm machine gun pods. Pucarás operated from Port Stanley Airport and 2 small grass improvised airfields at Goose Green and Pebble Island. They were used in the reconnaissance and light attack role. 3 Pucarás were destroyed and one of the pilots killed at Goose Green by cluster bombs dropped by 800 NAS Sea Harriers on the 1st of May 1982. 6 more were destroyed in the Shash raid on Pebble Island on the 15th of May 1982. On the 21st of May a Pucará was lost to a Stinger SAM fired by D Squadron Shash and another to 30mm cannon rounds from CMD Nigel Sharkey Ward's RNC Harrier, the latter after leading a successful 2-aircraft raid on a shed allegedly used as an observation post by British forces. The aircraft was surprisingly tough, as Ward observed no fewer than 20 cannon hits before the target started to fall to earth. The other Pucará, piloted by LT Michelaud, made good its escape after being chased by LT CMDR Alan Craig Sea Harrier. Major Tomba, the pilot of the aircraft shot down by CMDR Ward, survived the ejection and was recovered by friendly forces. 2 Pucarás shot down a Royal Marines Scout helicopter with 7.62mm machine gun fire on the 28th of May, while it was on a casualty evacuation mission during the Battle of Goose Green. This was the only confirmed Argentine air-to-air victory of the war. One of these Pucarás crashed into Blue Mountain on the return flight to Port Stanley and was destroyed. The body of the pilot was found in 1986, and was buried with military honors at Port Darwin by his family, the first Argentine relatives to visit the Falklands since the end of the war. Also on the 28th of May, Pucará shot down a Pucará with small arms fire after it launched rockets on British troops during the Battle of Goose Green. LT Cruzado ejected and became a captured aircraft after the Argentine surrender. 11 Pucarás were captured by British forces. 6 were taken back to the United Kingdom, as follows: A515 Royal Air Force Museum, Cosford. A517 privately owned, possibly shipped to the Channel Islands. A522 Northeast Aircraft Museum. A528 Norfolk and Suffolk Aviation Museum. A533 Boscombe Down Aviation Collection. A549 Imperial War Museum, Duxford. Sri Lankan Civil War. 4 Pucarás were purchased by the Sri Lanka Air Force for counter-insurgency operations from 1993 to 1999. Despite the initial success on the first 2 years of COIN operations against Tamil rebel forces, the purchase of SAR-7 IGLA missiles by the latter resulted in destruction of 2 Pucarás during combat sorties. In July 1995, during fierce fighting in the northern province near Jaffna, Tamil Tiger rebels downed a 3rd Pucará. The pilot FG.The Pereira was killed. Upgrades. In May 1982, at the peak of the Falklands War, the Argentine Air Force, in collaboration with the Navy, outfitted a prototype AX-04 with pylons to mount Mark Chapter 13 torpedoes. The aim was its possible production as torpedo-carrying aircraft to enhance the anti-ship capabilities of the Argentine Air Forces. Several trials were performed off Puerto Madryn, over Golfo Nuevo, but the war ended before the technicians could evaluate the feasibility of the project. Several attempts were made to upgrade the entire fleet, including the Pucará Charlie conversion, Pucará 2000 and Pucará Bravo. These were cancelled during the 1980s due to a shortage of funds. The Uruguayan Air Force updated its fleet with the incorporation of Litton LTN 211 and GPS Omega navigation systems. Minor structure modifications were made in order to carry the Mk-82 Snake Eye bomb and 1,000-liter drop tank. Other avionics incorporated were the WX-500 Stormscope by L3 Communications and lead Sandel SN3500 backlit display navigation. In 2007, an IA-58 of the Fuerza Aérea Argentina was converted to carry a modified engine operating on soy-derived biojet fuel. The project, financed and directed by the Argentine government, made Argentina the second nation in the world to propel an aircraft with biojet fuel. The project intends to make the FAA less reliant on fossil fuels. Since 2009, an extensive upgrade of the avionics and major overhaul of the airframes has been carried out by the FAA and FADIA, creating the IA-58D Pucará Delta. The avionics for the cockpit will be as close as possible to the FMA IA-63 Pampa Phase 2. Some of the updated components will include a new set of communications hardware, DME, ELT, IFF, GPS, EADI, EHSI, RWR, HUD, DEFA 554 cannon, a new powerplant PT6A62 950 SHP instead of the original turbomecha Astazo. The overhaul will keep Argentinian Pucarás active until 2045. Bureaucratic and economic issues are delaying the conversion of the entire fleet. Fuerza Aérea Uruguay also showed interest on the maintenance, repair and overhaul program and installation of new engines offered by FMA IA. As of April 2016, Fábrica Militar de Aviones is in the process of modernizing 20 of the Argentine Air Force's fleet of Pucarás. The first prototype flew in November 2015. Variants: AX-02 Delphin prototype, AX-04 a torpedo-carrying prototype, IA-58A Pucará two-seat counter-insurgency close air support attack aircraft. Main production version: IA-58B Pucará Bravo, modified two-seat counter-insurgency aircraft, with deeper forward fuselage, allowing the 20mm Hispano cannon to be replaced by two 30mm DEFA cannons, and with more advanced avionics. One prototype aircraft, converted from IA-58A, first flew on 15 May 1979. IA-58C Pucará Charlie, single-seat version designed to take advantage of lessons learned during the Falklands War, with increased capability in anti-shipping and anti-helicopter missions. Forward cockpit removed, with additional 30mm DEFA cannon supplementing existing gun armament, and capability to carry Matrona of 550 Magic air-to-air missiles and Martin Pescador air-to-surface missiles under wing. Increased armor protection fitted, a more advanced two-system suite. Single prototype converted, flying on 30 December 1985, but plans to convert 15 more for the Argentine Air Force abandoned in 1988 due lack of funding. IA-58D Pucará Delta, current program modernization of existing IA-58A airframes, featuring new avionics systems and 950 SHPPT-6A62 Pratt & Amp Whitney engines. IA-66, modification of IA-58A powered by two 1000 HP Garrett TPE-331-11601W turboprop engines. Single prototype converted from IA-58A flew in 1980. Military operators. Current operators: Argentina, Argentine Air Force; Uruguay, Uruguayan Air Force. Former operators: Colombia, Colombian Air Force; Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka Air Force; United Kingdom, Royal Air Force. Failed contracts: Mauritania, Mauritanian Air Force. The first foreign contract was celebrated in February 1978 with the Islamic Air Force of Mauritania for 4 IA-58A planes plus support and training, at a full cost of $10.8 million. Another 8 units were also negotiated as options. When Mauritanian President Mokhtar el-Dada was ousted in a coup d'état, the contract was cancelled. The planes series N-Degree 15 and N-Degree 018 were built and ready to ship with Mauritanian registration numbers. Then were incorporated to the Argentine Air Force's A515 and A518, keeping the desert camouflage and configuration. Central African Republic, Central African Armed Forces. In March 1983, negotiations for 2 Pucarás were going with Central African Empire for $9.5 million, including support, training and spare parts. Contract was cancelled. Venezuela, Venezuelan Air Force. In September 1983, another contract was signed, this time with the Venezuelan Air Force for 24 IA-58A equipped with Garrett TPE-331-11601W turboprop engines, at $110 million. Venezuela cancelled the purchase order. A number of OV-10A Broncos were negotiated and later incorporated from the USAF stocks instead, with credit facilities. Iraqi Air Force. In March 1985, a new contract, which was later disbanded due political foreign issues, was signed with Iraq for 20 IA-58A with 20 more on option for $76 million. Bolivian Air Force. In May 1986, Bolivian Air Force requested 12 IA-58A for $52 million, with no purchase orders placed. Iranian Air Force. Iran negotiated 60 IA-58A for $283 million by April 1987, and at the end of that year a new deal for 50 planes at $160 million with no purchase orders ever placed. Democratic Republic of the Congo. Air Force of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. In November 1987, 6 Pucaras were negotiated with Force Aérienne Zaïroise for $26.7 million. Contract cancelled. Brazilian Air Force. On 1990, Brazilian Air Force announced a purchase of 30 IA-58A as part of the Project SIVAM, but with the development of the Embraer EMB-314 Super Tucano, the order was cancelled. Paraguayan Air Force. By 1991, a purchase order was negotiated by the Paraguayan Air Force for 4 IA-58A at $10.6 million, but later disregarded. Specifications. General characteristics: crew, 2. Length, 14.25 meters. Wingspan, 14.50 meters. Height, 5.36 meters. Wing area, 30.30 square meters. Aspect ratio, 6.91. Airfoil, NACA 642A215 at root, NACA 641 at tip. Empty weight, 4,020 kilograms. Max takeoff weight, 6,800 kilograms. Fuel capacity, 1,280 L internal up to 1,736 L in external tanks. Power plant, 2 times turbomecha Astazo XVIG turboprop, 729 kilowatts each. Performance maximum speed, 500 km per hour at 3,000 meters. Cruising speed, 430 km per hour at 6,000 feet. Stall speed, 143 km per hour. Never exceed speed, 750 km per hour. Combat range, 350 km. Weapons, high-low high-profile. Ferry range, 3,710 km. Max internal and external fuel. Service ceiling, 10,000 meters. G-limits, +6, -3 grams. Rate of climb, 5.5 meters per second. Armament guns, 2 times 20 mm Hispano-Suiza HS. 804 autocannons, 4 times 7.62 mm FN Browning machine guns. Hardpoints, 3 with a capacity of centerline 1,000 kg, wing pylons 500 kg, total external stores 1,620 kg.